Obviously, the last 24 hours, not even, have been incredibly jarring with the leak of the draft of this opinion from the Supreme Court. What are your intentions in your role, knowing that our state sits as one of the few where abortion is illegal?
Well, first of all, I think that it's going to be extraordinarily unhelpful. I can't imagine any. You've just seen a press conference where you have police officers, prosecutors, community groups working together to solve a problem. And I don't know of any prosecutor or police agency that wants to get involved in investigating and potentially prosecuting the relationship between a woman and her physician. Now, in the short term, what I think it ultimately means is that providers of those services will no longer operate in the state of Wisconsin. So in the immediate term, I don't think there is going to be an immediate impact on the criminal justice system. But it's troubling. That's all I can say about it, because things have changed in 50 years. Things have changed dramatically in 50 years in the sense that if you went back to 1970, probably 98% of every public safety agency, that would include police, prosecutors, public defenders, courts, corrections, it was a male-dominated field. And the perspective of how we best serve our community has changed in 50 years. I would say well over 50% of my office are females, both in the support and in the in the lawyer and prosecutor services. Their perspective on representing people that are the most vulnerable is very different. And what attracts people to this profession is the belief that they can help people. I just, again, can't imagine how inserting us back into the decisions that are made between a woman and her physician are going to help us in the public safety realm. That's my concern.
Thank you.
So how would you handle prosecution of cases?
It's really difficult to say right now. This is a question that's going to have to be determined by law enforcement and by the legislature, the governor's office, the attorney general's office. Everybody across the spectrum is going to have to revisit what they're going to do, since you haven't had to think about it in 50 years. So that's the fundamental problem. And on top of that, just as we talked about here, we have unbelievable demands being made on us right now to try to address the surge in violence, overdose deaths, reckless driving. They have already taxed law enforcement and court and prosecutorial and defense resources to the max. Now you're asking us to, again, insert what police officers are going to investigate doctors, and again, in the short term, I think the answer is that the services simply won't be provided in Wisconsin is the short term. But the direction things are going, that may not be enough, to satisfy some people, and so it's a concern, and we're going to have to watch it very, very closely and think through our response in a rational way.
It's not really your policy decision, but you're worried about loss of services to people, or how would you? And maybe you were saying this before, but you have female prosecutors now.
Right, like anybody else, they come with different perspectives in life, and this is just one aspect of whether, I would say, if you were a female police officer, a prosecutor, you generally like to be able to enforce the laws uniformly, in a uniform way, without respect. This is one of the key issues of credibility with the community we serve, is that you try to enforce the laws impartially. A change in law in this direction only impacts one part of our community, one part of our society, and it just goes against the grain of what we've wanted to transform the criminal justice system into, is one that treats everybody with dignity, with respect, and treats them equally, treats them fairly. And I don't think I just don't think we want to go back to a place where we're taking one part of our community and treating them differently.